Hello. Have you ever noticed how some people speak life over everything, while others speak defeat before anything even happens? One person says, "Nothing ever works out for me." Another person says, "I know things can turn around." One person says, "I'll probably fail." Another says, "I am learning, growing, and I can do this." And over time, those words start shaping how they think, how they act, and even what they expect. That is why affirmations matter, because you have what you speak. This is what I'm going to share today. Why affirmations matter. You have what you speak. Before I go further, hit that like, notifications, and subscribe button so this video is pushed out to others who need it too. I want to stay connected with you, and I have a lot more to share that will encourage you and give you hope. Okay, let's get back to why affirmations matter. This is not just about saying random positive phrases and pretending life is perfect. This is about understanding that your words carry weight. What you repeatedly say begins to influence your mindset, your beliefs, your actions, your emotions, your confidence, and your direction. Your mouth is not just expressing your life, it is helping to shape it. If you are constantly speaking fear, defeat, lack, insecurity, and failure, you should not be surprised when your life starts feeling heavy, small, and stuck. When you begin speaking truth, faith, confidence, peace, and possibility, something starts shifting inside you first. And what shifts in you eventually shows up around you. Let's talk about why affirmations matter and what you speak is more important than most people realize. Number one, first, your words reinforce what you believe. Whatever you keep saying, your mind starts treating like truth. If a person constantly says, "I'm awkward, I'm bad with people, I never know what to say," they will start showing up in conversations already expecting failure. They will hesitate, overthink, shrink back, and then use that experience as proof that what they said was true. But imagine that same person starts saying, "I am becoming more confident every day. I can communicate clearly. I do not have to be perfect to connect with people." Now they are giving their mind a different direction. They are no longer strengthening insecurity with their own words. They are starting to build a new internal belief. An example of this is, think about someone trying to improve in public speaking. If before every video, every meeting, or every live stream they say, "I'm terrible on camera," they will carry tension into that moment. But if they begin to say, "My voice matters, I am improving every time I speak, I do not need to sound like everyone else or anyone else," they show up with a completely different energy. The second reason affirmations matter is because your words affect your actions. What you say does not stay in your mouth, it travels into your decisions. If someone keeps saying, "I never finish anything," they will often stop trying before they really begin. Why? Because their words have already trained them to expect inconsistency. If someone says, "I am disciplined, I follow through, I finish what I start," that person is more likely to act in alignment with those words. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because they are no longer using their own mouth to work against themselves. For example, imagine two people starting an online business. The first one says, "There are too many people doing this already. I'm behind. No one will care what I have to offer." The second one says, "There is room for me. I can learn this. My message can help the right people. Who do you think is more likely to post consistently, keep learning, and stay in the game long enough to grow? The second person. Why? Because their words supported action instead of killing momentum before it started. Third, affirmations matter because affirmations interrupt negative patterns. A lot of people do not realize how much damage they are doing with everyday speech. They say things like, "I'm so stupid. I'm such an idiot. I always mess things up. I'll never get ahead. I'm just not good enough. I'm too old. It's too late. I never have enough." Those phrases may feel normal, but they are not harmless. Repeated negative speech becomes agreement with limitation. I'm going to say that again. Repeated negative speech becomes agreement with limitation. Affirmations help break that agreement. They force you to stop repeating what fear says and start speaking what is true, what is possible, and what aligns with where you are trying to go. Here's an example. A woman is trying to get out of debt, but every month she says, "I'm just bad with money. I'll probably always struggle financially." Those words keep her emotionally tied to lack. She may avoid learning, avoid budgeting, avoid taking better opportunities, and stay stuck in shame. But if she begins saying, "I'm learning how to manage money wisely. I'm capable of change. I can build stability one step at a time," that does not magically pay her bills overnight, but it changes the way she sees herself. And once identity shifts, behavior follows. Fourth, affirmations matter because what you speak shapes your atmosphere. What you speak shapes your atmosphere. Words do not just affect your thoughts, they affect your emotional environment. A person who constantly speaks stress, defeat, and hopelessness often feels surrounded by heaviness. A person who intentionally speaks peace, gratitude, and faith begins creating a different inner atmosphere. That matters because you live from the inside out. Your inner atmosphere affects your outer atmosphere. For example, think about someone waking up every morning already saying, "This is going to be another exhausting day. I can't do this. I'm overwhelmed." Now compare that to someone who wakes up and says, "I have grace for today. I can handle what is in front of me. I do not have to carry tomorrow today. I do not have to carry tomorrow's burdens today." Same responsibilities, same life, different atmosphere. One person starts the day crushed. "I know today's going to be a bad day." The other starts the day grounded. "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength." That is the power of words. Now let's be clear. Affirmations are not magic. They are not a replacement for action, wisdom, or faith. You cannot speak success and then do nothing. You cannot speak peace while feeding panic all day. You cannot speak confidence while refusing every opportunity to grow. Affirmations work when they are used to retrain your mind, align your words with truth, and support the life you are building. This is about agreement. You have to ask yourself, what have I been agreeing with through my words? Have I been agreeing with fear, with insecurity, with defeat or lack, with failure, delay, or small thinking? Because many people are waiting for their life to change while they are still speaking the same negative patterns every day. You cannot build a strong life with weak, self-defeating words. I'll say that again. You cannot build a strong life with weak, self-defeating words. That's the truth. If you keep saying, nothing works for me, eventually you will stop looking for opportunities. If you keep saying, I'm not enough, you will shrink in rooms that you were meant to show up in boldly. If you keep saying, I'll never change, or things will never change, you will resist the very process that could transform your life. But when you begin saying, I am growing, I am capable, I am learning, I have value, I can change, I am not stuck. There is more for me. I do have something to offer. You start building a new pattern. You start beginning to build a new pattern. And that pattern matters. Here are a few affirmations that are actually useful because they connect to real life. Here's some examples. I am becoming more confident every time I use my voice. This is powerful for someone building a brand, speaking online, leading, teaching, or showing up publicly. Here's another example. I am disciplined enough to do what matters, even when I don't feel like it. And this helps when you are trying to stay consistent instead of emotional. Here's another one. I do not have to know everything to take the next step. This is for the overthinker, the perfectionist, and the person delaying action because they want certainty. I am not behind, and I am moving at the pace I need to move. This helps people who constantly compare themselves to others online. I am allowed to grow beyond the version of me that stayed stuck. That's really good. I am allowed to grow beyond the version of me that stayed stuck. And this is for the person who keeps identifying with old mistakes. Here's another one. I have something valuable to offer. This matters for creators, business owners, speakers, and anyone who keeps questioning whether they matter. And here's the key. Do not just say affirmations when you feel inspired. Say them when you feel resistance. Say them every day. That is when they matter most. Anybody can say something positive when life feels easy. But when fear shows up, when insecurity hits, when you feel discouraged, when progress looks slow, that is when affirmations become a tool. That is when you say, I will not speak against my own future. That is when you say, I will not agree with fear. That is when you say, I am not going to use my mouth to strengthen the very thing I want to overcome. I'm going to say that one again. I am not going to use my mouth to strengthen the very thing I want to overcome. Because you have what you speak. Not in the sense that every word instantly appears, but in the sense that your speech shapes your mindset, your patterns, your confidence, your emotional state, and your willingness to move forward. Words are seeds. And if you keep planting words of defeat, do not expect a harvest of confidence. If you keep planting words of fear, do not expect a harvest of peace. If you keep planting words of lack, do not expect a harvest of abundance. Start planting better seeds. Start speaking words that align with growth. Start speaking words that align with truth and faith. Start speaking words that align with the future that you are asking for. Your life is listening to what your mouth keeps repeating. Your life is listening to what your mouth keeps repeating. So be honest with yourself. What have you been speaking lately? And is it helping to build your future, or is it helping to destroy your confidence? Choose your words better. Speak with intention, truth, faith, and life, because affirmations matter, and you do have what you speak. If this message spoke to you, leave the comment below I will stop speaking against myself. Leave that in the comments. I will stop speaking against myself. Share this video with someone else who needs to hear this. I'll see you in the next video, and remember, I'm cheering you on.